Hi everybody, and welcome back to Hex Token channel. In this video we're going to look at what is PulseChain. We're going to have a quickly cover the history of Ethereum, and of course we also have a quick look at a Binance Smart Chain, and then finally we're going to have a look at a PulseChain, a deep dive, and a PulseChain.com. So hope you enjoy this one, and let's go. So here we are with a wonderful piece of artwork about PulseChain, and of course all the tokens that will be on it. So pretty neat, and I love this image on Reddit, so big shout out. Let's quickly go to the history of Ethereum, and of course with the history of Ethereum here, the time frame of all major milestones, forks, and updates to Ethereum. So we had the white paper released in 2013, and we got the yellow paper released in the ETH sale, which is pretty epic, in 2014. Now I'm sure everyone would have been loved to have been part of that, given the price of Ethereum these days. And of course, on 2015, we had the Frontier and Frontier Thawing updates, and then we had a Homestead, a DAO fork, Tangerine Whistle, and Spurious Dragon in 2016. 2017, we had Byzantium, and then 2019, we had the Constantinople and Istanbul forks, and then Muir Glacier staking deposit contract deployed, and Beacon Chain genesis of ETH 2.0 started end of 2020 December, and then by the time we got to 2021, we had the Berlin, London, and Alta forks, and 2021. So nice. Of course, the London fork was with doing with the EIP. And we ended up getting the update to the fees that we've got today. And of course, I've put here PulseChain 2021-22, and of course, that's coming. That's what we're going to be talking about. What is PulseChain? All right, so quickly look, here is on the ethereum.org history, and of course, you can go through all of these different key forks here. I will leave the link in the video description. It goes right through the whole history of Byzantium, Constantinople, Istanbul forks, all sorts of stuff, good stuff, Muir Glacier, and it goes all the way through the Beacon Chain, of course, the ETH 2.0, the beginning of that. Wow. And then the Berlin fork and the London fork, which we were well familiar with. And of course, that introduced EIP 1559, which reformed the transaction fee market, along with the change to how gas refunds are handled. Of course, it hasn't really had much of an impact. In fact, the NFT boom has really put more demand on Ethereum, and the prices have been pretty high, as we all know. And then, of course, Altair has just been done 27th October, and that upgrade was the first scheduled upgrade for the Beacon Chain. It added support for sync committees, enabling like clients and bringing validator inactivity and slashing penalties up to their full value. So that's what that did. So pretty cool. That's what it does. Of course, there's a bit of detail there about what is forks. And then, of course, don't forget we had the Binance Smart Chain, and that launched on the 1st of September 2020. That there was the launch of BSC, Binance Smart Chain, was an Ethereum virtual machine compatible blockchain, and so that's what that was involving there. So now brings us to the present time, of course, PulseChain.node, and so we're going to look at this on GitLab, and this goes through a few terminologies that you might see across a lot of YouTube videos talking about snapshots and forks and things like that, a bit of confusion as well. So this is actually off the GitLab for the PulseChain Testnet. It's got the repo holds the PulseChain fork, Go Ethereum, and the Binance Smart Chain. Credit to the wealth of upstream development this project is built upon. PulseChain is a stateful fork, okay? A stateful fork of Ethereum running proof of stake authority consensus system with the stated goals of increased performance and significantly reduced fees. So we're looking for that, as well as the performance, to be honest, for the users of the ecosystem. As a stateful fork, copies of all Ethereum contracts, tokens, and user accounts at the time of the fork will exist in the PulseChain network. So the fork is going to be based on some block. So we'll check that out shortly. So obviously a blockchain has blocks in it, and inside blocks are transactions. And so some block and number is going to be forked of Ethereum, and then the Ethereum and PulseChain will go on its own direction, as you imagine, a fork in the road. Being a fork of Go Ethereum, and many of the Go Ethereum binaries and tools you're familiar with remain the same: Geeth, and boot node, and Popif, and ETH, and etc. So no, it's almost called out a name. The proof of stake authority, POSA consensus engine developed for BSC is based on the click a consensus engine detailed in EIP 225. So these are the rules, remember, in Ethereum, with validators tracking and selection being dictated by system contracts. Validator rotation on BSC is administered through cross-chain messages originating from Binance Chain. PulseChain simplifies the system by removing the dual chain complexity and by implementing validator staking and rotation as native system contracts that can be directly interacted with by the PulseChain users. That's fantastic. Slashing the logic ensures liveliness, security, stability, and a chain finality. The PulseChain network will launch with a stable set of maintained validators, and tech-savvy PulseChain users are encouraged to deploy new independent validators that can be voted into the network consensus by the PulseChain users, aiding in the decentralized of the network. And we understand that there's going to be about 33, somewhere around 33 validators. Key features: stateful Ethereum fork. Now this is where we get into the heart of it now. Stateful Ethereum fork. PulseChain brings all the Ethereum state with it as of block number, and that's to be decided. So that's coming up, and Richard briefly talked about that in his live stream today, just saying that that is pretty close, and we should expect that soon, or once the mainnet goes. But PulseChain Testnet 2.0 is very close to launching, and looks like that's going to have the airdrop distribution, and that will be pretty close to the truth, but it won't probably be finalized, although maybe many of the actual data will stay the same. So we'll wait for that to happen. So PulseChain Testnet first, then the mainnet afterwards, and we'll get the block number when the fork happens. Exact copies of all smart contracts, ERC20 tokens, and ERC721 NFTs and user accounts will exist on the PulseChain. So if you're wondering if you got a MetaMask wallet, for example, you're just going to have to add the PulseChain network to your MetaMask, and you can just switch between Ethereum and PulseChain, and you'll see all your copies that you've got on the ETH chain now on the PulseChain. So you'll have double, and then you'll find out what the market decides they're worth. Obviously, PulseChain is going to help take demand and reduce the fees. That's hopefully the intention by being the same layer as Ethereum, layer 1. Because of the extent of applications and use cases deployed on the Ethereum mainnet, it's not possible to anticipate exactly how any cloned assets will be valued by the community, and that's very important. So the value of the cloned, it's going to be found out. It's the first time a system state has ever been done, and so and that makes it quite different from the Binance Smart Chain one. So some contracts and applications will work 100% as they do on Ethereum. Other contracts, such as centralized stable coins, are unlikely to have the authoritative support behind them. So that's something we're going to wait to see whether stable coins get the backing from the authoritative support, and basically the custodians like USDC, etc. Eventually, the relative value of these assets will equalize through market action, but it is expected there will be a discovery period with the high volatility at the launch of the network, and I agree with that. Proof of stake authority, although proof of work, or POW, has been proven as a mechanism to implement a decentralized network, it is not practical for new or small networks and requires a large number of participants and computational waste to maintain the security. Proof of authority, POA, provides defense against a 51% attack with improved efficiency and tolerance to certain levels of Byzantine players, malicious or hacked. The proof of authority protocol, however, is most criticized for being not as decentralized as proof of work, as the validators, i.e. the nodes that take turns to produce blocks, remember there's blocks in a blockchain, have all the authorities and are prone to corruption and security attacks. Other blockchains, such as EOS and Cosmos, both introduce different types of deputy proof of stake, or DPoS, to allow the token holders to vote and elect a validator set that increases decentralization and favors community governance, I should say. PulseChain inherits and modifies the Binance Smart Chain consensus engine, Parlia, which combines DPoS and POA. So this is a combination there. And the PulseChain consensus engine has the following properties. Blocks are produced by limited sets of validators, so we're expecting around about 33. Validators take turns to produce blocks in a proof of authority manner, similar to Ethereum's clique consensus engine. Validators set are elected in and out based on staking contracts implemented on PulseChain. Validator set rotation occurs on a regular interval with applicable validators chosen from the staking contract, selecting the validators with the bonded stake. The consensus engine will interact directly with the slash, staking, and validator system contracts to achieve liveliness and stability, revenue distribution, and validator rotation. So that's some of the key stuff there. And the final thing I'm going to read out here is the native token. The native ETH token will become PLS, or Pulse, on the PulseChain network. The PLS supply will be inflated by at least 10,000x upon forking, with the extra supply being distributed to the users that sacrifice during the PulseChain sacrifice phase. PLS will be used just as ETH is used on the Ethereum network for transaction fees, and that's probably very important for you to know if you're not familiar. So PLS will be like ETH is on the Ethereum network, but PLS will be used on PulseChain to run the transaction fees. The other side, of course, it's got other features. We're going to quickly look at that too, as well as for delegating stake to validated network validators. So if you're going to stake validators, you'll need to use your PLS. Now, obviously, people that sacrifice in the PulseChain phase will be getting PLS, although during the sacrifice phase, of course, they're not supposed to expect anything. They just get these points, so just take that into account. All right, let's wrap it up with what is PulseChain. With the PulseChain goals, we got increased Ethereum value, increased the fees will be lowered by sharing its load. It will enrich ETH users. PulseChain will re-enable priced out use cases. Instead of launching empty, PulseChain brings the ETH system state. As we read earlier in ERC20s, this rewards holders and founders of ETH-based projects. Enriched ERC20 and NFT users. The launch of PulseChain is the largest airdrop in history, and that doesn't get any lost on us. Thousands of Ethereum-based tokens and NFTs received their free PulseChain versions. The new Gold Rush, and I love that, contains the value discovery, thousands of tokens and NFTs on PulseChain. If you always wanted to be a whale in a certain ERC20 or NFTs, maybe now you can. And a lot of people are forgetting about that. I don't hear that in a lot of conversations, but definitely your strategies and your positioning will play out pretty importantly. Now, I do have a video on a lot of different opportunities on the PulseChain. Check that out on the channel. I'll probably link that in the video description too. Easy to use, of course. Your MetaMask wallet just works. You only have to change a single setting to access PulseChain. Basically, have the PulseChain network RPC sitting in your wallet. You just switch between the two chains. Ethereum holders can transact for free with a freemium PLS. That's going to be cool. And a lower PulseChain fees and serve more users. PulseChain increases the throughput by Ethereum 4x using 3-second time blocks. Average block time is around 13 seconds. So it's going to be pretty cool. Now you might see I think it's 4.3 or 4.5 second blocks on the testnet 0.1 at the moment, but that's due to some testing issues I think that they had from the Brett Tev. Remove pollution by replacing proof of work, of course, like Bitcoin and stuff, and Ethereum. Miners with proof of stake validators. PulseChain doesn't burn and waste any energy, making it environment friendly, which is always nice. Improve game theory. PLS has 0% inflation. This is pretty important. Validators only earn fees, and 25% of the fees are burnt to reduce circulating supply. So this is a major fundamental in PLS that it's deflationary. So it's going to be pretty amazing. Empowered PulseChain holders, PulseChain's native token PLS can be staked and delegated to validators that reward delegators with the largest percentage of fees. Now, also in today's live stream, Richard talked about the bridge, saying it was very important to him that there was a group in Telegram focusing on the bridging. So we'll be looking forward to that. And trading, of course, looking for a Uniswap split, probably Uniswap 2 version 2, getting on the chain as well. So that will help with the economic energy and trading. So looking forward to that. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. This just is a quick look at what is PulseChain for beginners, really. And feel free to subscribe, like, and definitely share this video. Hit the bell for more. And I love your comments in the chat, so leave those as well. And onwards and upwards. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will catch you later. Enjoy yourself. Bye for now.